Hey everybody, I'm Ben from the Bonehead podcast and welcome to our Blood Bowl 2020 unboxing. So first of all, a massive thank you to Entoyment in Poole for allowing us their store copy so that we can do a really good unboxing of the game. They are a fantastic venue. We have all of our tournaments there, and to be fair, I buy basically all of my Games Workshop and other stuff from them. They're a fantastic online retailer, great service, great bunch of people. So please, if you want to support us, please support them. That's entoyment.co.uk. Can recommend, especially if you're going to be pre-ordering Blood Bowl this weekend. So thanks to them, we have got our copy of this beautiful beast. So let's get some Star Trek lens flare there. That's quite impressive. Okay, so we are going to go through this box. We are going to unbox it. We are going to open it. We're going to build a couple of bits, look at some sizes, and just look at all the contents that you have inside. And I am super excited. Before we go into that, though, I just want to say we've got a series of videos on our channel for Blood Bowl 2020. We've got tournament rosters, we've got starting rosters, we've got breakdowns of how the rules have changed, how the teams have changed, and we're just going through and doing team developments at the moment. So if you're thinking about playing Black Orcs or Human Nobility, we've got videos that talk you through actually what the teams you could be, how you can build them and stuff like that. Anyway, I have rambled far too much. Onwards and upwards to the unboxing.
So this is an absolute beast of a box. It's absolutely full, so we're going to open it up right now. Okay, so let's have a look inside. So first of all, the first time we're opening the box, ooh, look at all that plastic. Let's get rid of the lid for a second. Okay, so immediately you've got an absolute ton of sprues. So where should we start? So first up, let's have a look at the referees. One sprue, one actually quite small sprue, but it makes sense. There's only two guys on it. So we've got the dwarf. The dwarf is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. You've got 5 pieces there for the book. And the elf has got, I think, just a couple of pieces. Yeah, the armpit there as well. Looks quite tall for an elf. We'll do a size comparison in a minute, but always good. And you got 1 sprue a piece here for the ogre and the troll. Looks to be exactly the same kit, just in red and green plastic. So let's go straight for Griff's sprue. He's actually got quite a few pieces. I mean, you can see on the video, the detail is exactly what we expected. A 1-piece sprue. Now this is positive. So if the troll and the ogre have got the same size sprue, the same amount of plastic, there's a good chance that when they release Griff individually, it could end up about the same price. I mean, what's the troll trending at now? Like £18? That ties in nicely with Games Workshop's pricing policy when it comes to the star players. However, things might be a little bit different for Varag. I got confused for a second. I got really excited. I thought, oh, I've got 2 Varags, but no, it's just 1 Varag, 2 sprues. Now, you know, sprue size, I can see it being the same price, but this guy is going to be an absolute chonker. Really impressed with the size, really impressed with the detail. I mean, I'm impressed but not surprised. I think it's probably the best way to describe that. So first up, we've got the nobility team. So we were worried these might be a little bit too complicated for newbies. This is not a push fit kit, so part of me was kind of hoping it would be a push fit so we could you know, just quickly get your teams together. This is a proper kit, and I think where they've got alternative pieces on some players, it gives you a lot of variety, but I think these are going to be reasonably tricky to build. But love the coin, love the statue, and I love each of the positionals. It'll be cool for us to dive in a second, have a look at the instructions, and see if there's alternative, how much alternative build potential there is. And you do get 2 sprues, don't worry. Talking of 2 sprues, you get 2 sprues here of the Black Orcs. Now, I said Varag was a bit chunky. These guys are big. Like, I am very excited to get these built. They are almost ogre size. We'll build up one in a second and we'll have a look at compared to a Games Workshop ogre, just to kind of give a good size analysis. They've got cool tokens. We've seen that. I mean, we've seen the miniatures, and again, we'll have a look at the instructions in a second so we can see just how varied you can make the team. And you've got the classic templates. These look to be exactly the same as the original edition. Say the original edition, as the 2016 edition. And there was one more sprue here, which is the other bits for the troll. I got excited. So they can fit the ogre on one, but because the troll's quite intricate, it gets a second sprue. Okay, so we've got our protective splitter here. Let's bust this up. And you can see this is where, I think we've seen this image on the Warhammer community. So it's got almost all of the teams there. I don't think Old World Alliance are represented. and obviously, is it Underworld missing as well, and Chaos Renegades. So this is basically each of the different team kits, not the kind of hybrid teams. However, that's quite cool to have. And before we get into the rules, you get an absolute chunk of bases. It's good to know that there are 32, even for the goblins. I know Games Workshop have moved to 25s on some players. So got that, and we got both sets of dice. These red ones are the same as the red set that they brought out last year. And now we've got some cool green ones to match your Black Orc team. Kind of a shame we're not going to see an individual pot for the Nobility and the Black Orcs, but you never know, we might after time. This is what we are all after. We'll ignore the two really lovely teams, the two brilliant big guy miniatures, and the fantastic star players. This book that I cannot pick up with my left hand, because it is an absolute beast of a book. By now, you've probably all seen the rules book online. You've seen pages of it spoiled or whatever. Let's hope it's all exactly the same in the final edition. We'll go through this in detail in a couple of minutes. But it's got a interesting... Oh, that's the reference sheet. Wicked. So we've got some good reference sheets there as well. And now we've got the pitch and the dugouts. So we'll open this up again in a sec and have a very good look. But you can see the dugouts are way smaller. I have a pump wagon here for scale. That's a terrifying thing. You can see it's literally half the size. This is going to work much better, I think, for games. The only thing I'm going to struggle with is all of the spare players for my Snotling team may not fit in here, and I'm very, very, very sure that isn't going to be big enough. Okay, let's have a quick look at the instructions here. So Varag, the body, 3 very simple pieces, and then this step 4 or 1D, you just have to chuck on an absolute ton of extra stuff. I wouldn't even know where to begin with painting this guy. This might be a sub-assembly star player because he's got so many little bits and so many little bits of detail. But what a miniature. And on the back we've got the info for the referees. Again, we saw from the model kit, not going to be too complicated to put together. 3 pieces there for the elf. If you count his belt buckle as something different. We've got the details for the troll, and then we've got Griff. So Griff looks like simple body, and again, lots of individual pieces to put on. So even the bird is in several pieces. You got the hat. No alternative pieces there for Griff. But what a miniature to finish up with. So let's have a quick look at the instructions here for the Black Orc team. So as you can see, the bodies themselves, only a couple of stages, like not too difficult at all. The great thing here is that there's some alternative pieces. I mean, it's just heads here, but actually that is going to vary the look of your team brilliantly. We've got some goblins down here as well. Look, even the goblins are in quite a lot of pieces. But the spare heads and the different things you can put on them are very, very cool. A lot of I like the variability here. Look at that. You've got the different heads you can swap on, which is also pretty cool. And with the Imperial Nobility, they do have quite a few pieces. Look at this. The Bodyguard 2, it's got individual wings. It feels like we're going back to the Undead team here. Now, I think it's probably worth it because these models are wonderful. Even the human lineman has got individual hands. That's not going to be too difficult. They're not push fit, which is kind of interesting. These are proper miniatures. This is a proper team. So we're not getting shorted by any kind of quick build miniatures as gamers. However, if you're starting out, these might be a little bit intimidating, especially when you've got small pieces like this. And we've got the transfer sheet here, all the numbers for the orcs, all the numbers for the humans. Cool logo there for the orcs. Again, black and white symbols for the Imperial Nobility as well. They've crammed quite a lot on this little sheet. Okay, so let's look at the dugouts properly here. So we've got 2 sides to them. You've got the green pitch side, and we'll look at the pitch in a sec. Again, like I said, it is a lot smaller. It's basically half the size, I think, of the original one, and I think that's going to work really well. The cool alternative build for the Astro Granite pitch. Again, you've got the classic details here. I would expect nothing less from Games Workshop at this point. Really like these. So let's have a look at the pitch now. So let's try and open this up without breaking it. You can see it's 2-sided. Oh, look at that skull. This is absolutely classic. So let's unfold this delicately and elegantly as ever. So, a couple of questions that were asked. Are the squares the same size? The squares are exactly the same size. How well can you see the spots on the skull? And I think you can probably see from this video. If not, let's zoom in ever so slightly. You can see the stars here. where it gets into the red, it gets a little bit harder to see, but quite frankly, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, or, you know, like in the middle of the pitch, 6 squares in the middle of the pitch. It's going to be absolutely fine for you to manage that. So love the skull. It harkens back to 2nd edition, where we had polystyrene pitch, and it had the skull in the middle here. The skull was pretty bad actually for gameplay, and the pitch was really weird and small and bumpy and probably wouldn't fly now, but it was such a good thing. I got so many people into Blood Bowl. And talking of 2nd edition, this is the Astro Granite pitch. So this is really shooting for 2nd edition. It is more industrial than the old Astro Granite pitch, so it's a lot grimier. Quite frankly, this has kind of got a Necromunda vibe to it. If you look at some of the detail, especially down here with the grates, the rusted, dirty grates. I mean, it's got an absolute... Obviously, these grates are the trapdoors, and the trapdoors are quite important for special play cards, and even for the Prayers to Nuffle table. There is one result that you can fall down these, which is quite cool. There is the classic detail everywhere. You've got some Black Orc shoulder here. You've got all the bits and bobs, shoes, feet, murder, blood patches, everything, and that skull. And again, you can see, in fact, it's actually a little bit easier to see on this side. So if I was going to be teaching someone to play Blood Bowl, the good thing is both of these sides are actually quite clear. I would probably go with this one because it is easier to see the grid. However, this side is probably just as easy, and it's going to give a sport vibe. I don't know, I love this pitch. I know it's not tagged to any specific team, but I would probably buy it even if I wasn't getting this with the starter set. For the end zone aficionados, the Astro Granite side has just got checkered flags on it, and the standard pitch has got the Blood Bowl logo in. Now, I did see something online, there we go, Blood Bowl online, that asked why it didn't have the Blood Bowl logo in. It's because this is an homage to the 2nd edition, and in the 2nd edition game you had card cutouts for team names, so I'm assuming that's why this one doesn't say Blood Bowl. So before we dive into the rulebook, we will have a quick look at these cheat sheets. So it comes bound with 2 of them, and they're not actually just reference cards, they are in fact little booklets with loads and loads of detail in. So we'll have a quick look together now. So on the page 1 of the cheat sheet, you've got sequence of play. So you've got pre-game, starter drive, team turns, end of drive, post-game, the turnover. So we've got a list of turnovers here, which is cool. We've got the weather table, which is always useful, and got one nobility logo and the Black Orc logo, which I really like. It's a nice little touch. So you've got the kickoff table here. You've got player activation, so all the different player actions that they can take. Pass action. It's actually got a breakdown of how the steps to do it. You've got block action results, throw teammate, the sequence of that, which is actually incredibly useful. I think loads of you out there who've played Bubble for a while have got one kind of reference sheet or another, or a mixture. Block, how to block with strength, and on the back page you've got this reference sheet. So each of the teams, as you can see, we've got reference for Black Orcs, and we've got reference for the retainer lineman. And we've got a breakdown of injury. So no throwing template or anything like that, but it comes with the templates in the game, so not going to be a massive loss there. Okay, so let's have a quick look through the rulebook. Now, we've already discussed this. The rulebook is absolutely delicious. Now, I've moved the camera, so we're going to try and avoid as much glare as possible, because I want you to see exactly what it's like when you open this book. The art is fantastic. Now, they've absolutely committed to the colour, the art style, and everything of this edition. We knew that going into it, and they have delivered absolutely throughout. So you can see print colour, print quality, absolutely fantastic. They go straight into what Blood Bowl is about. You know, the contents of the box, what everything does. You've got the background. I like the reusing of the Slan Mage fan, a coach, I don't know, with the hot dog and the chips there. So it just goes through the history of Blood Bowl, talks through what and how it happened and how it all came about, the establishment of the NAF, and just more art. Now this thing just carries on. You've got multiple pages, and we will do a separate show about the background of Blood Bowl at some point. And again, I'm just trying very hard not to get glare so that you can just see every one of these pages. The commitment to the art is fantastic. It just delivers. This book absolutely delivers. And one thing I really did like is that when it goes into the rules and everything, but you've got a very fancy bit of ribbon here to mark your rules page. I know it's a little thing, but it's very, very, very appreciated, because this is a really, really lovely book. It does look to be exactly the same as the spoiler version that we've seen. It doesn't look like anything has changed. So we'll just quickly flick through the pages. We're not going to go into the rules. That's everywhere on YouTube and podcasts, and you can check our stuff for that. But this is picture for picture the same as the spoiled rulebook. And a lot of the rules have changed, so if you're not sure what the difference is between this edition to next edition, then please have a look. We've got a video that literally covers that very thing. But it just goes through the rules. Everything is covered in here. You've got the inducements, you've got some great art, you've got the skills. I mean, it's just awesome. It's a brilliant rules tome, I suppose. And you know, I'm a huge fan, especially as you get towards the back and you can see each of the teams. Now, I know that we're missing some teams, and as this video goes live, we still don't know if we're going to have a PDF covering the missing teams, but I really like the way that they've got everything demonstrated. So if you are new to Blood Bowl, you can pick this up and you can see exactly which model is which. And if there's one thing to say about the nobility team, it's that actually it's quite useful to know which of these is a bodyguard and which of these is a lineman. Because, I mean, I know you're supposed to judge it on the amount of feathers they've got, but if you don't know that, how are you going to know? So I really like that. You've got obviously the new necromantic team here, which will be coming soon, and absolutely delivers from front cover to back cover of this team. And we'll have a quick look at the back cover as well. Oh, see, I love the Snotling team. All the way through, you've got more painted miniatures and more lovely Blood Bowl art. So it wouldn't be an unboxing build if we didn't build some stuff, so we are going to quickly put together Black Orc 1. Okay, so we've built our Black Orc. It's time to do a size comparison. So we've got a few other players to put them up against, so it gives you an idea of scale. So I actually can't find my Orc team. I'm assuming it's still in storage somewhere, thanks to moving house. So you can see he's not as tall as a Dark Elf Blitzer, but look at the mass of this guy. Okay, look at the size there. I mean, that's not exaggerated. This is a clearly strength 4 piece. Dark Elf has the height, but this guy absolutely has the mass. Let me see, make sure I'm not just... That is both in the same position. This guy is that much bigger than the Dark Elf. And now up against a Chaos Warrior. This is one of my Tzeentch Chaos Warriors that I'm converting and painting up at the moment. So got about a head on it, I think works, but look at the mass again. If we do this, you can see with the hunched over shoulders, the Black Orc is absolutely massive. And last but not least, we've got the Ogre. So this is my converted human Ogre. So this is the same Ogre that comes in the box. Yeah, all right, I've stuck him on top of a very unfortunate Noblar, but look at the Black Orc size. So the Ogre is still proportionally bigger than the Black Orc. That's good. The Black Orc needed to be smaller than Ogres. But mass-wise, you can kind of see the Black Orc is with it. So the Black Orc is shorter than an Ogre, but about the same sort of heft. But it is very similar. I think it's an absolutely bang-on size. And we're quickly going to build Goblin Bruiser Lineman 3 as well. And we're done with this guy, so let's have a look at some size comparisons. So, dug out my Goblin from my Underworld team, and you can see that actually the Underworld Goblin, the original Goblin, has got a little bit of size on the new Goblins, but it's not much. It's interesting, these are supposed to be tougher, given that they've got thick skull, versus the original Goblins, but the original Goblin just looks a little bit bigger and a little bit more armoured. It's quite interesting in that regard. However, when you got them on the pitch, they're going to be pretty much similar, pretty much the same size, and compared to the Black Orc, they are absolutely tiny. Not Snotling tiny, but still pretty small. But I absolutely love this. Look at the detail on the model. These have got so much character. And the Black Orc, just awesome models. And because I want to do size comparisons, we're going to put together one of the miniatures. We're going to go straight for Imperial Retainer Lineman 1. Okay, so this guy is all built. Look at the detail there. So when I saw the pipe in the spoiler, I thought, oh man, this is going to be complicated. But actually, where it is just cast on, it actually feels pretty secure. So forgive me for rushing these models, but I'm just so excited. So let's have a look at size comparison. So we'll start with our friend, the Dark Elf Blitzer. Similar size, similar heft, which I think works really well. Let's just see if we can get head to head there. So the Dark Elf does have a bit of height on the human, which I think is appropriate. Okay, this guy's squatting a bit, this guy's squatting a bit. So size wise for that makes a lot of sense. And let's bring in the Black Orc. So we can see the lineman and the Black Orc side by side. You can see just how big that Black Orc is. Like, this guy does not miss any time at the gym. So strength 4, strength 3. Let's bring in strength 2 here so you can see the size of all the miniatures put up together. So goblin versus human is small, which makes a lot of sense. That goblin has got so much character, and the sculpt on this human is phenomenally good. I'm so excited. So bits of it look a bit soft from plastic molding, but I think that's just going to disappear when you paint it. I was worried about the level of detail on the humans, but again, I think this is going to take something like contrast really well, as are these guys. So size wise, goblin is sized well, Black Orc is sized well. They are going to look fantastic on the pitch together.
Okay, so there you have it. We have gone through the contents of the box. We've got the rulebook. We've got some incredibly lovely miniatures. So you notice we only built a couple of the players here. That is because over this weekend we're going to be doing more work. So Ben is going to be doing a live stream, as much as possible, a hobby stream of him painting the Imperial Nobility team, and Ian Warham Hannam is going to be taking on our Black Orcs. I am going to be looking at the referees, and eventually when the Necromantic team comes, that's going to be my project. So if you want to see more about size of Griff, about Varag, about the referees, please stay tuned to the channel, because there's going to be more hobby goodness coming over the weekend. And please keep up to date with all of the Blood Bowl 2020 content we're doing. We just have an absolutely brilliant time of going through all the teams in here, and when Necromantic lands, we're going to have some extra star players to look at as well. Finally, I just wanted to say another huge thank you to Entoyment for letting us have access to this so early. It's so exciting, the kit is so good, and Entoyment are a fantastic bunch, a fantastic shop. So if you're looking to pre-order this Saturday, or if it's gone now and you're looking to buy anything, especially kind of Games Workshop stuff, please do give them a look. Prices are great, service is really, really great. They are a fantastic shop. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to do it. Please like, subscribe, etc. Because we are basically doing Blood Bowl content every single day, and it's looking like it's going to carry on for a little bit longer. So thanks very much for watching. I am off to build some referees. See you later.